What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Venomous Fringe podcast. This is part 2 of James L. Ash, aka Old Boy, guys. Well, folks, we're going to wait for him in just a second, but guys, let's get it going here tonight. Thank you for tuning into the Venomous Fringe, and also, too, guys, check it out. June 17th, we are touching base on some mysterious cryptid stuff with the 10 Tales of Dogman. Don't forget, guys, that comes out June 17th, Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check your local standard times to check and see which hours are ahead or behind to catch this broadcast. So, think about it. Anyways, here we go, guys. James L. Ash coming up next on the Venomous Fringe. Take a look, though, coming up right now on our 10 Tales of Dogman teaser.
For years, eyewitnesses have been seeing mysterious upright canine creatures that they cannot describe, and has left many mystery into the world. It is unknown what lurks around into these creatures, but with sketches, drawings, and thousands of accounts, the mystery is. Join us as we talk about Dogman, the most terrifying cryptid in the world.
My guest at this time is none other than Old Boy himself. You know him from Staring into the Abyss, James L. Ash.
What is up, misfits, sugar ladies, and motherfuckers, and demon hunters? And thank you, brother, for having me on again.
No, my pleasure, bro. Seriously, this is I like doing these type of adult podcasts because it's like it's fun, it's good, and I like that. It's intriguing. It fascinates me. So, anyways, man, how you doing tonight, man? God bless. God bless.
Thank you, and blessed be, brother. I'm doing good tonight, bro. It's Sunday. There was really nothing on. Like the last time we did a show, it was kind of like later, so now we have a little bit more time, and let everybody know that was like one of his highest viewed shows so far. So I'm glad everybody tuned in. And I'm glad if anybody listens to it again, thank you very much. And it was a great show last time. I'm doing pretty good. Nothing really going on. It's just been actually a boring week. I don't know. How about you, brother?
Terrible week, man. I had 2 people die on me, constant. Back-to-back week. Had one buried last week. And then tonight, I actually had to go, and bury another one. Say our final goodbyes, so, in a God-blessed method, excuse me, we had to do what we had to do, so, yeah, it was a tough week for me, man. I literally had it was tough, it just tough, but I think I'm pulling through tonight, so we're crystal clear.
Yeah, okay, that's good, man. I'm sorry about that, man. I hope you, sorry for the people forever for the loss, man. That always sucks, dude. I know how it feels. But I hope you're. And I heard you kind of sound like you're getting over a cold or what?
Oh, it's terrible cold, dude. Dude, I got that terrible cold like crazy. It was just out of control. Like it felt like splinters going into like my nostrils. It was just like stuffy nose left and right, and then it was just out of control. Like man, like I couldn't stand it. On top of that, like, I just felt it was just insane because I'm sitting here coughing and phlegm and then blech, all over the place. You know what I mean? I'm just like, come on. So I'm actually coming over it now. So yeah, God bless too. I mean, I believe I say a prayer for good luck and anything like that. I know that might sound a little silly to some, but hey, listen, that's how I am. But yeah, no, I feel a whole lot better now tonight, especially now. It's perfect time. It's Sunday. It's beautiful out, and well, the sun is down. We're doing an interview with you, Ash. So hey, more to merrier, man. Cheers.
And thank you, brother. And I'm glad you're having fun out there in New Jersey, because here in California, it's been kind of cool off and on. One day it's real hot, one day it's windy and cold. Doesn't make any sense, but that's just how it is out here in the desert. But thank you for having me on. Just want to verify some things. Um, I'm still involved in what I believe in, dude. I just not into the coven stuff anymore. That was something different. I got very like I want to explain this. Now I have more time, because last time there was some stuff that had came up, so we had to do the show a little later. I'll get into the coven thing because he wanted me to get into that. When I started a coven, what had happened is I was already in another group, and I had a fallout with the leader at the time. And yes, and this is the craziest thing. There was different groups, like I've said before in the other show, and we had a falling out. So you know what? I started my own thing, and I got about maybe 10 people in it. I remember I got this. I was for being the leader in it. I had got this rock from a witch, and it was my friend's mother. And sorry, she had passed away a couple years after that. She had a lot of problems, and she ended up passing away for some certain things. But she had given me this rock, and it was like white. It looked like a crystal, and when I would hold it, it was either hot or cold. And everybody else, it didn't. It just was cold for them. It was weird. But she ended up, when I had my group, she gave it to me, and it actually helped me a lot, because I had a lot of things happen to me, and I'll get into that. I don't know if I was like attacked by this other group, but one time I had opened my door to my apartment, and there was like, it looked like they had killed a raven, but they put it like in a ritual. It was real weird, like black, like they had these black, the feathers crossed in a certain way, and it was really weird. It was like they were trying to put a curse on me, and it didn't really affect me. It affected my ex-wife, because stuff would attack my ex-wife, and like at first I didn't know she was because my ex usually joked around sometimes, but she would tell me stuff was attacking her night, and I'd see her neck was scratched up, and she would just be, out there with stuff. But I got back at them. I found out who it was, and like, just when you do stuff like that, you do get bad karma, and there's a lot of stuff that happened to me. Like, dude, my grandmother was killed. I ended up getting a divorce. Like, on Christmas Day, my window got busted open. In my car, everything got stolen.
Wow.
I just had bad stuff happen to me, and it was because I was dabbling in the stuff I shouldn't have been. I was reading like just getting into bad spells and doing stuff to people. And I'm going to tell you about a spell I did. And I was at this. I don't know. Have you ever gone? You ever go to those shops? Like, they have, like, kind of, they call it like it has a lot of the Wiccan stuff there. It has a lot of different, like, religious books. Like, you can get your candles, your sage, your incense, your cauldrons. You ever been in one of those shops? You know what I'm talking about, Chris?
Yeah, we have one over here, East meets West. It's
yeah.
Those shops. Yeah, I buy that kind of stuff all the time. It's pretty good fragrances too. Highly recommend them for $39.99.
Yeah, thanks for the plug. But what I was saying is, I used to go in there, and one time there was a bunch of people, and it was supposedly a witch, and they wanted to do some kind of spell and some kind of ritual. So I said, okay, whatever. I was with my group at the time, and what they had you do is you wrote something on a paper. You wrote whatever. They asked you, what did you want? Like, what's the main thing you want? And you wrote it on a paper, and you waited your turn, and you would do this little spell they would give you, and the lady would be there, like, and you would throw it in this little cauldron thing. It started on fire. And, like, sometimes it just burned, and sometimes it would, like, kind of blow up. It was weird. And you would ask the wish, and it would come true. It happened for me. I remember I did that one. It was kind of weird. And we did a lot of, she did a lot of, I don't know what she was involved in, but she was doing spells in there, and they had everybody stand in line, and we had to do all this like chanting and stuff. It was kind of crazy, dude. And I went to this lady's house too, and it was cool. There's like probably like 10, 15 people there, but like she was like had her husband, and then she had two people she was doing her, I think it was priest and a priestess, and they were sitting there kissing each other after they were doing this, all whatever they're doing, and like we were even saying I'm not into that. Maybe they were swingers too, so I don't know. It is California. But that's some of the crazy stuff I have seen. I don't really get into it now I'm telling you about some of the stuff I've done. I've also done blood spells, and that's where you cut, it's blood. You drink blood and to take, because a lot of people don't realize when you do that, if somebody else is you're taking their essence and their power. And that's why people do that. It's because people do that. So that's what it is. You're taking in their some of their body, it's their blood. So I used to do stuff like that, and I don't recommend that. That was kind of like not smart. So I'm safe. I don't have no diseases or nothing, but that's another thing I used to do. I used to get into a lot of stuff, bro, and it was turning me, bro. Like I hated anything to do with God. I don't believe in God. I believe in God, but in a different way than all you guys do. Maybe there's, and I don't get on anybody's religious belief. You could believe in anything. I don't care if you believe in God, a goat, a chicken. As long as you respect me, I respect you, and that's the way I see it. And I'm still into Wiccan. I'm just not into like I used to be. Like get into the deep stuff, and it does exist. There's a good and a right side and a left side, and I was going a lot left. Like I was getting the satanic stuff, dude, and it was pretty intense, dude. I hated. Like I could tell, like right now as we talk, something doesn't like what I'm saying, and that's another thing. Like what I was telling you, there is something that's attached to me, and it's always has, and like it's weird, bro. Like. Sometimes I know it's not there, and sometimes I do. My girlfriend sees it. My friends have seen it, and that's the consequences of messing around with that stuff. You invite things in, and just not like movies. Like people say, oh, they have some preacher with the fucking cross, and he puts it on your head. Oh, I don't know if you've seen that. I've seen something the other day about that. I'm sitting there laughing. That shit doesn't work, dude. That not all the time. Every time they get a Bible out, they're going to get the exorcist, and then that's it. That's not true, because you could be possessed by numerous different demons, and there's one stronger than others. Not all the time you can get them out. A lot of people believe that the power of God. Once in a while, they still come back, because there's most of those people who say they're possessed there's some situations where it's got into them, but a lot of times they know it's there and they welcome it. And when they welcome it, you're unless you really want it to go, it's not going to go. And what's probably happened is these people have probably had bad experiences, and now they want to run from it and go to God, but that's the only real reason, because they're scared. And they're not really worried about God. They're just wanting to get away from themselves. So, that's why a lot of people get involved in that, because, a lot of people get into that for power. And, and some people do it to get money, some people to get somebody they love, or just get revenge. Because there's a lot of hate, dude. And a lot of people, you never know, dude. You could be best friends with somebody and really deep down inside they hate you. And you never know what they really feel about you. And it could be putting something on you, dude. You just never know. I don't know if you've ever had that, Chris. I've had people I thought I was friends with, and come to find out they hated me. I know you probably have. We all have. So, that on that part of it, that's why I got it. A lot of the reasons why I got into that stuff, though, is I've always been intrigued to it. I've always been like into the darkness. I don't know what it is. I like it. I'm not saying it's the best thing in the world, but it attracts me like anything paranormal. Crypto. That's why I got into Staring the Abyss, because I love it. I can't get enough of it. The first thing I would do in high school was go over there and read those kind of books. I wouldn't care about anything else. I would read about ghosts and Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster, and that's what I was involved in. And I loved it. And I love just horror movies, and that's why I got into horror movies, because I love all that stuff. But that all comes. It's like a lifestyle, bro, more than anything. I noticed that a lot of people who are into this stuff, like I am, they like horror movies, they like everything. You do too. So I mean, you're into this crypto, you're into Dogman, you're into this paranormal, you're into horror movies too. So I think that's just and wrestling. That's another thing. A lot of people are wrestling fans too. I noticed, but I think it all comes in between. And I think that's where we get a lot of people who, if you notice, they're into this. They're like me. I got the It shirt on. That I think it's just their attraction to it, all of it. Because I think some people really want to be like that. I think there's some people who really want to be a vampire, who really want to be a werewolf deep down inside. As crazy as it sounds, there is. And I think with witchcraft, I think people think there's going to be, they're going to get some kind of power, and they can get back at their enemies or get back at somebody hurt them and going back after them for revenge or getting money, or they're attracted to it. I mean, dude, when you get into that, I mean, it's like I said, you get stuff, but you're going to have to pay a consequence. And some people aren't ready for that consequence. And you can't just walk away from it. Like I see on TV, oh yeah, you're a born again Christian. It's out of my life. It's not. That's why I don't really argue with some people who say they were born it, and then they want to argue about God, but yet they're sinning every day, and then they go to church, and then they go and sin, and then they judge you. That's what a lot of them do. And I'm not nothing against Christians. I have a lot of Christian friends. My mom's a reverend. So weird as that sounds, but getting into the coven, that's what got me into it. It was attraction, man. I have attraction to that side of it. I'm attracted to that darkness, and it's something because it's something in me, and it just, I don't know. It's like you are with doing radio. It's like you love it, man, and that's why it is with me. I love it, and it's a hard thing to get away with. You just don't wake up one day. It's like people don't realize, like drug addiction and alcohol. You don't ever get better from it. It's a sickness, and I'm not saying it's a sickness, but it's kind of like that. It's like a drug, man, and it's exciting because I really want to know this stuff exists, and that's why I do it, because I love it. And there's just, I don't know, it's me. Look at me. If I don't know if you guys see this, I'm who I am. I'm crazy. As crazy as it sounds, I am like this. I'm not phony. I say what I say. If Chris will vouch for you on Facebook, I'll say whatever I want, and I don't care. And nothing disrespect for anybody, but you don't want to believe what I believe, then that's your business. I don't give a fuck. But I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Now, getting into staring into the abyss.
Let's launch it up with staring into the abyss. A lot of people want to talk about that.
Yeah, go ahead. What would you guys want to know?
Well,
I got into how I started it last week, but what else?
Right. Absolutely. That happens all the time, man. It's like gorilla fingers. So basically, what was the genesis for you to launch this podcast with James Hershey? Well, first of all, where did you and Hershey meet up?
I met Hershey through my horror groups, kind of like I met you. It wasn't through, the radio show. If people realize, I met Chris a while ago, and it was because of the horror group I have. And James had started his book. He started just getting known. And he asked me, hey, can I share this in your horror groups? Because my group got very popular because of what I would do is give away stuff. I gave away all kinds of Blu-ray sets and stuff like that. And that's how I met James. And we started talking. And then he got on a radio show called Revolution Radio. I don't know if you remember that, Chris, with Eric.
Yes.
You remember that? Like, okay. They started that, and they started doing their thing, and I had got on there as a guest. And some things happened with Eric. His dad got real sick, and he just couldn't do it. And me and James were talking one day. We kept doing shows together because I was doing We're Screwed. You remember that? And that had nothing to do with paranormal. That's how I first got into it. It was kind of like all out to say whatever I fucking wanted, and I did. It was kind of like Howard Stern met like wrestling, met everything. It was crazy, and people liked it for a while. But me and James, they started not being able to do the show, so like a lot of people do, they don't believe in it, or they just don't have time, they're not getting money, so they don't care anymore. So what we did, we started doing the show together, and we took over Revolution Radio, and we're like, we can't have this name anymore. So we started talking, and we started talking about, I said, what about this as the abyss? And he brought up the staring part. I got the abyss part. So we both thought of staring into the abyss one night, and then we started doing shows together. Well, the first show I did was about me being into this stuff. And then the second show was April Roan, who just got signed onto Amazon. She's a psychic medium, and she was my first interview, and she was really cool. But then we just like, after that, it got to be like, we loved it, man, and we started doing shows after shows. But the first couple of shows we kept messing up because, you know, when you first do stuff, you don't know everything. You don't know, like, you have these little mics on here, and if you move around a lot, it makes a lot of noise. So I was walking around my house so you could hear me walking around because I wasn't muting my mic. It was real funny for the first couple of weeks, but then we learned how to get over that, and it became like what it is. We got a shot on Para X. I went on the show, an interview with this lady, Jenna, and she was on Para X. And she liked us. She kept having us on her show. And then they said they wanted us, so we went and talked to them, got on their radio channel. And since then, like, we're like one of their best things. We have millions of people listen to us. Now it's 27, 28 countries. You know, we just had Chris, if you guys didn't hear last week, we had you on the show about the dog man. It's doing really well again. For some reason, people love that. But then they like Chris because every time we have Chris on, we have a lot, thousands of people who listen to it. And that's because we just like to just do this stuff, man. We love it. I don't even care if I ever get paid for it, bro. I'll still do it. I'll do it for free because I love talking about all this stuff. But that's how Staring became, because we were sitting here one day, like, just wanted to do something like this. I've always wanted to do paranormal, so we started doing the shows together, and that's how. And like I said, I met James through the the horror groups in Facebook, and then after that, it just shot off, and it was perfect. My friend Adrian listened to our show one time before it was real big, and he says, you guys need to just do the show together with no one else, just you two. And a lot of people started saying that, and that's what happened. We just made the show, and we started doing the Staring in the Abyss, and I'm the one that gets these pictures that you guys see, and I find a picture, and I try to fix it and make it look great for every week. So I think the one I found with you. But that's how Staring became. And like, James is already, like I said, a lot of people, like I said, he's an international selling horror author of the Legion series, so he was already known anyway. So he was just getting bigger then, and bigger and bigger and bigger. And now, Staring, he's even bigger. He says, like, the other day he saw somebody, and they knew him over the show, not over his books. And I've been getting a lot of that, so have I. So he's becoming bigger in just his books now. So, and it's just blown up. And I think it's going to get even bigger, bro. I think we're up there with some of the biggest names there is, dude. So, I mean, one day you might see me on TV. I hope so. I hope everybody, that's
everybody's dream to do that is to go on television. It's perfect screen time.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I apologize to the audience. I have a bad cough. I'm getting over a cold, so I do apologize for that.
Hey, you know what happens to everyone, brother.
Absolutely.
And I I don't even care about even in rats like Amazon or iHeart. It's either those two. Those are the other ones. You just don't want to shoot at one thing because you know what? Even if you get on TV, you have to be good because no one's going to keep watching the show. It sucks. It's that's what people got to realize. That's why we do so much different stuff than everybody else. Because Staring in the Abyss, we do one, like I was telling him earlier, we do stuff about ghosts, then 1 week about cryptozoology, then history, then because it all has some kind of paranormal stuff to it, and aliens, and we'll have interviews, we'll have people who've been attacked. But when you do that, you got to watch out for people who make up stories, because we've had that happen too, because you don't know if they're legit, and you don't want people to find out they're fake, and then they go after you thinking you're fake. We all know how that goes, Chris. So you just have a lot of people who it doesn't matter. You like I said last week, if you had evidence of Bigfoot tap dancing in your front yard, they still would say it would fake and it doesn't exist, and because they just don't want to believe it, or they just want to be haters, because they're not doing nothing with their life. So that's what a lot of things you deal with, and I get it, because some of our shows we've done, we have people who always want to argue in faith comments says you're fake. They'll say some stupid stuff that makes no sense. And you can tell they're fake profile because they never have their pictures. They always have like a bird or some cartoon character. You know, like Chris, what I'm talking about.
Yep.
You know, the haters and hecklers. That's
Yep.
one of the biggest.
The
things.
worst of the all
Yeah.
kind.
Yes. And you know they're fake and they have nothing better to do. And another thing, and what I've been noticing with the paranormal, because I have a lot of people in it with paranormal who do they go try to chase ghosts and stuff like that. They all fight with each other, just like James was talking about. It's like instead of everybody being helpful, they're trying to be on, like the ghost hunters or ghost adventurers and all that. And they all backstab each other and talk crappy about each other. It's hilarious. Like, I don't understand that. It's like they all want to become something, so they'll just sit there and badmouth each other. And I have my friends who say they get attacked all the time, and because she does shows, and out there in Northern California, and her name's Tammy G, and she gets a lot of flack for stuff she does because she's doing, she does ghost investigations, and then she'll have people attack her and say dumb crap, and I just tell her don't worry about it because they're just jealous because she's becoming something. She knows people in the industry, guys, and people don't like it. When you start, they're friends with you too. They start seeing you get. A lot of people want to see you do good, but not better than that. And when you start doing better than them, they get pissed, dude. Just like I've seen it with me. I started off with being on Facebook, and now I'm becoming an international radio podcast star. And I've seen it. I've seen people like I never would think was my friends that they started turning on me and arguing with me, and you could tell that's what it is. They're jealous. Because they'll just take a shot at you, oh, this isn't about this, or they'll bring up a religion, but yet you see on their Facebook they're out partying and drinking all the time. I think that's hilarious. But that's why I just laugh about it. There's a lot of people that's always going to hate. That's what you guys always got to remember. If you have something you want to do, don't ever quit because you have a bunch of people telling you that it's going to happen. Because most of the time they ain't doing nothing in their life. So that's why I still do this, and I'm always going to do this. Like I said, I could do this for free for the rest of my life, and I wouldn't care. I make all right money already. I have a job. I'm not just living in my house, my parents' garage. I have my own house, car. I have a job. I do this because I like doing this.
Amen.
You go ahead, brother.
No, I'm just saying amen.
Oh, I thought you were saying something. With your cold, it's hard, because I could hear it's in your voice. So you're like low. So sorry about that, brother.
It happens. It's one of those nights.
Yeah. So, but with staring, dude, like I said, that has become basically my life now. I live and breathe it. I promote it all the time. I love doing the shows every week. I try to get other people on all the time. I try to get people to listen to us all the time. I try to help people too. I'm not just thinking of myself. Like Chris has been a really great person I've known for over a year, almost 2 years, and I want the best for him too. So I have no problem coming on the show ever. I love being on the show, man. He's a cool guy. I like him being on our show. Very, very interesting stories. We have fun on the show. We don't just sit there and go, well, Chris, what did you do today? Going
down the river.
Yeah, because a lot of people got to realize interviews are not. We try to make them fun because it's boring to listen to somebody for an hour and a half ramble on about something. But if it's interesting, people want to listen to it. If you have something that's just boring, a lot of people have interviews, but it's always about the same thing. Do you believe in ghosts? And how did you get your life started out? And how did you get into that's already been said. I try to ask other things like, fuck, have you ever been attacked by something? Have you ever been like, does it attack your family? When you wrote those books, did you have that experience? I try to go away from just asking them how it started, because if you do that, it gets boring. It's like protocol. And with you don't really do that. You just ask me, a couple things and you let me talk. And then you answer back, and that's cool. I like that because you do the same thing with us. We'll let you sit there and you'll tell us your evidence or whatever you got to tell us, and then we'll tell you what we think, and we'll go back and forth and chat about it. But that's what an interview should be, or stuff like that. It's something where it's interesting to people, where they're going to find out something, not where they're going to be told that ghosts exist or, I seen a ghost and it came to my house one day while I was sleeping and it attacked. That's what you hear all the time, and that's boring to me. I like, With our show, it's not like that. James gets into people got to realize he's freaking smart, dude. He does studying that you would do in 3 weeks in a couple days. He was a Mecha kid. What that is, he was brilliant. he worked for NASA. He's smart as hell, dude. Like it's crazy. He has like pages and pages of information. And I don't do all that. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I'll look stuff up and stuff like that, but I'm not like him. It's just he's like a storyteller. If you listen to the shows we do, he tells a story, and then I just do the play-by-play. And I tell him my opinions because that's just how I am. And sometimes I'll question him, and I'll come up with a different theory. And with demons and a lot of stuff, just like we did with the Mongolian death worm, I brought up something I thought it was. And it just works because you would never think it would work because we have two separate different personalities. We're two alpha males in work, so and that's why it's such a great show because you would never think two people like me and him would ever do a show. He's a Christian book writer, and I'm a ex-coven leader, Wiccan leader, involved in Wiccan. You never would think that. Most people are doing Christians with Christians or pagans with pagans or whatever you want to do. You would be doing your own show together, but we don't. We do something different than anybody else does. So that's why we do it. I know you like being on the show because every time you come on the show, man, we always have great numbers and people love us. And yeah, we have people say something here and there, but we don't care. And it's a great show. It was great to have you on last week. And you guys, I'm glad to have him on. I'm going to have him on again. Eventually, we're not every time we're going to have Chris on, he's going to be talking about the dog man either. He's got another experience with another creature we're going to talk about down the line. And that's going to be even greater. So, there's just not just one thing. We're not going to just have Chris on every time he sees something about the dog man. He talks about other stuff too. It's just how it goes, man. He's into everything paranormal also. So, and wrestling and stuff like that. So we have a lot of things in common. So he comes on the show and we have a great show. And I know you enjoyed it last week, brother. So, I'm happy you were on and I hope you feel better because you sound like you had a long weekend, brother.
I did, and I do apologize to the audience. I truly do. James Ash, of course, real quick, a quick monologue before we get into our next subject. James Ash, of course, a great person to have known as well as to understand. And I must say, for himself to understand where I'm coming from, I consider Mr. Ash a part of a clique or a family, as you would say, the Venomous Fringe. He's part of the Fringe, if we want to get into a context right there. However, I will say this, though, he's done a lot for the field. He has executed a lot for the field. And the biggest perk of that all is that he's gotten his name out there with the help of you, the audience, the universe, and thank you for that moment. That's what it's all about: teamwork, partnership, and getting it out there. So yes, this is all we do. We aren't just people going into the psychic of the crazy world. I at one point was always ridiculed, and I have people always say I think of weird things all the time. But the what-if factor of these things existing is an importance. People don't realize that. So hopefully, maybe one day we can all come to terms with that. But of course, with Ash, thank you for those kind comments, my friend.
You're welcome, brother. Yeah. I'm always here to help you, brother. I just don't think of myself. A lot of people do. They want to become famous and want to be rich and don't care about who they screw over. So I'm not like that, man. I'm always glad to be on your show, bro. Whenever you want me on again, I'll come on, bro. And I love thanks to the fans and followers from all the shows, Staring, this show, everyone, whoever, thank you for listening to us, man. And it's my honor to help to make you guys happy. And I like you guys. I'm glad the show did really well the last week, the first part of it. So thank you guys for subscribing to his channel too. And he's a great guy, man. He knows a lot. So yeah, don't worry about what people think. Man, you get used to that, bro. You're young, so when you start getting my age, you won't care anymore.
Right. If we get there. The thing is, now we're going into the half-hour mark, so before we get towards that other portion, because we'll probably do a part 3 sometime sooner or later. But for right now, though, before we go off, I want to get one last opinion on you, and let's see if we can make this mark go up to it with what we're going to talk about here. Your opinion, and of course if you have an experience or viewpoint on the Mothman.
We did a show about the Mothman, and there's a couple theories we've come up with. I think the Mothman is either something to do with aliens, or the second opinion was that he's a demon. He's one of these 72 demons of Solomon, because he looks like one. We didn't get to do the second part of the show. We did a show about this, and it seems like every time the Mothman comes around, something bad happens, and then the Men in Black come around too. Thousands of people witnessed something during the day, and then it flew away, and then something bad happened. The bridge fell down. Just bad things happen, earthquakes or stuff happens, and it seems like this thing comes around, and maybe it feeds off of that, and that's what we think. Maybe it's a demon that feeds off of bad energy, and then, or it's a warning. It tells you something's going to happen before it does. I believe it exists. I believe it looks more like an owl than a man. I don't know. A lot of people think it's an owl. I don't. I'm sorry, an owl doesn't. It's not 8 feet tall. They get big-o, so I believe some of the sightings might be an owl, but yes, I believe that the Mothman exists, and I believe it's more of an omen. What do you think about that, brother, and what's your opinion on that?
Well, the Mothman, of course, a very legendary creature dating back to 1966 and to the tragedy of 1967 on December 15th, which was actually just this past 5 months ago, that 50th anniversary of that, yeah, and the Mothman phenomenon. You see, I believe it as the creature itself. I instantly, when I first got into the topic, I thought genetic mutation, but then I figured, yeah, and then I figured when it had this ability to do a lot of supernatural abilities, the big red glowing eyes, the whole flying routine, the ability to go into radiation fluid spots and not consume or die of radiation, another thing right there that kind of didn't stand out to me. So I feel that this creature is of a supernatural realm, or has a rank of an angel of death, even though that the Mothman has been seen here to warn. We would have to know exactly what would be the next big thing to where the Mothman makes its presence once more.
I don't know. I believe it might be what you just said, the angel. I don't know if it's the angel of death, or it's a demon who gets pleasure off of seeing this stuff. And see, that's the next thing. I don't know. It's been 50 years, like you said, so I won't be surprised it comes back. And it might be another thing. It might be global. It might not just be about that city. Like I said, it just warns things. It warns you. That's what I believe. It's a warning. Plus, I also think it's not good. Whatever it is not good. It attacks people. I mean, it's not killing anybody, but it always comes around when something bad happens. So he might be an angel. He might be well, a lot of people don't realize most demons were angels at one time. There are demons, but it could be. And I wouldn't be surprised the next thing happens. It has to do with this whole world. It isn't just to do with that town, because it's been seen in other places. So the next thing, maybe it's one of the 4 horsemen. You never thought that could be a theory about it, man, because something else could be happening. You never know, because a lot of things happen after this creature comes. So I don't know. What do you think about that, bro? Sorry about the give me 1 minute.
Until it happens, the most I can say is, when it happens, it happens.
It's probably not going to be good. It's probably going to be devastating again. Something bad is going to happen. So, sorry about that, guys. My cat runs around, so I thought it was... Like I said, sometimes when I do these shows, I hear things, and it isn't my cat. That happened to be my cat scratching. I hate when it does that, but... Like I'll do shows with James about certain things, and I'll hear people walking outside, or I'll hear noises on my roof. It's kind of weird, so that's why I was kind of startled at first, but then I saw it was my cat. So sorry about that, guys, if you heard that.
No problem.
No, I totally believe in the Mothman. We've actually, like I said, we did a show about him a couple months ago, and actually people really enjoyed it. It also could be an alien thing. What do you think about that?
Very much so. It could be an alien. The alien theory would be big. Some believe it would be because of his interference with one sighting with a telephone or radio transfrequency, which was being glitched or hijacked, pirated, whatever you want to call it. And at the end of the day, it was the Mothman was seen in this area. So I believe it could be alien.
It could be, or kind of some kind of mutation, because the Men in Black came in involved after that happened. They came into that town. These strange-looking people with black hats, and they were small, and they were involved, and the Men in Black showed up and picked them up. So it could be alien too, or it could be Mothman telling us something's going on with aliens. See, it could be a whole different thing. It could be two things in one. It could be supernatural also. So, you know, just because it's alien doesn't mean it has anything to do with supernatural. People need to get that too. It could be anything. It could be either or. It could be both. You ever think about that? That just because they're alien don't mean they don't believe in the same things we believe in.
Correct. I agree.
You know, a lot of people never hit on that factor. It could be like, you know, it could be just because they're alien, they still could be believing in the same stuff. You know, it could be something to do with that, or it could be the end of the world for all you know. You know, next time Mothman comes, the world can blow up. I'm not saying it's going to. I'm just showing you something bad could happen like that. I hope it doesn't. You know, I don't want anybody to die. Really, I mean, unless people who deserve it. But, you know, and most people don't deserve it. So I hope that's not the case. I hope nothing. I hope he never shows up again, bro. If you want to know the truth, because if he shows up, something bad's gonna happen.
It's all hell's gonna break loose. Shit's gonna hit the fan.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question, bro. I want to know this. Are you ever going to go out and check? Because I know you're into all this stuff, like the Dog Man and the Jersey Devil. You live by there. Are you ever going to? Have you ever gone out and checked this stuff out yourself? Like gone out and check some of these things that people say, or are you going to, or down in the future, or have you ever gone to where the Jersey Devil was at? Because I know you like the Jersey Devil too. Have you ever gone to that place or gone where that supposedly is at? And like done evidence yourself? Just asking. You know,
no.
Or planning on?
No. There is a plan for it though, but not in the anytime future. It's just about collecting research and books for right now. Okay.
Well, I mean, one thing we never get into. Do you believe in the paranormal? Because I mean, I know you know it's cryptozoology, but we never get into the demon stuff. What do you believe in that? Like you always ask me about that. Here's me doing the show. What do you get into that, or you don't get into that area?
I'm not really big into the area because it's mostly just cryptid. Only for the sake being, because like paranormal is paranormal, but I just cannot keep up with it. So that's just me though with that.
Oh, okay. Well, because I never knew if you were really interested in. Like I said, I mean, I know you like into ghosts. I've seen you some stuff have that. You've talked about that, but that's what I'm saying. Have you ever seen any ghosts, or have you ever been attacked by anything or anything like that? Or
never seen a ghost, never been attacked, but I do feel presence. But other than that, that's about it.
Can you feel presence on people? Have you ever felt like you could tell they have something in them, or you feel like there's lingering? I mean, I know you can feel it with me. You've told me, but what I'm saying is, yeah, that's what I'm saying, because I never got into it with you on that one. That's one thing. Like with somebody that's into that, the crypto, they usually have things that's happened to them, so that's probably why. With the occult and ghosts and stuff, I've had a lot of experience with that one. I can't be like you guys, like you and James. Like James has had history with Bigfoot. You know, he's had Bigfoot in his yard and chased it out in Virginia. He's had experiences with Bigfoot, so he's seen it. I've never seen a Bigfoot. I think it exists because I've heard the stories and done research on it. The only thing I've seen is that I've seen what I thought was the chupacabra. That's the only thing I've ever had experience with crypto. Is I had a couple of friends walk when we were teenagers, and I live in Southern California in the desert. And there used to be military bases, and they did stuff, and Mexico's only a couple hours away from the border. And one night we saw this thing jump a 6.5-foot fence, and his top foot caught it. That was it. And it ran out into the desert. And I seen it again, and whatever this was had a head of a lion and a body of a kangaroo, but it was like really long looking. It was crazy looking. We used to call it the Kraken, but come to find out, it might have been the Chupacabra. That's the only issue I've had with crypto out here. I've seen a lot of ghost demon attacks. I've seen spirits in my face. I've seen the man in the black hat. I've dealt with shadow people. I mean, witches, Satanists, Luciferians. I've dealt with that side, but I've never really had anything attack me because I know, like I said, you've had issues with different creatures you've seen, and so is James. James has had issues with with Bigfoot, and he's seen ghosts and stuff like that. He's seen everything because he's a mountain. A lot of people don't realize James is a survivor. He does mountain stuff. You can give him a knife and a backpack and a canteen, he'll survive for 3 weeks, and he does that stuff. But he said he's seen a lot of weird stuff doing that. So I've never have. I don't live in the mountains though, so I've never seen Bigfoot or ever had an experience with Bigfoot, and that's why I'm saying that's why I'm not like the big expert on. I love cryptozoology. I believe these creatures exist, and I do a lot of research, but I've never had a lot of experience. I only have experience with the dark side and ghosts and demons and stuff. Sorry, guys. I don't know too much about the dog man. I love the story. I think it's great. I think it exists, but I never got into that too much. Like, I never seen it because I live in California. I have enough dangerous stuff here in this state. So, with a lot of stuff that happens in California. So, and that's just human beings. And I've seen stuff in the sky like aliens and stuff like that, but I've never had any real experience with crypto, with like seeing those kind of creatures. I would love to do it. That's what we want to do. Maybe one day we ever get going, I'll go, because I'm from Pennsylvania originally, where he lives, out there back east. Maybe we'll have a show one day we can go and we can look around and see if we can find something. I hope we don't, but it would be kind of cool to do a live show, and I don't know what your opinion on that is, but I would love to do it. I was talking to James about it. We love to get some of these guys going. We go out actually looking for something out there, but that's down the line. I think that would be a lot of people would like that, I would love to find something, but I don't know if I really want to, because it might kill me, or two, I just think a lot of people would go after hunting it and kill it anyway. So that's kind of why I don't want any of this stuff to be found. So I don't know what you think about that, but I think people would destroy it, just like the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot. I think people would kill it. And that's kind of why I don't want it to be found. I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
I agree. It all should be covered up, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I agree. I think, well, the ghost thing's not going to be covered up. That's something you can't cover up. Because, you have too many people now who think they're ghost hunters, and they're going out messing with stuff they don't really know what they're getting themselves into. Like, that's why they have problems all the time. You'll see they're getting attacked, and they have a lot of bad things happen after that, because you're messing with stuff you don't really know what you're messing with. And like I said, God can't always protect you if you're not really, like, in faith with him. A lot of people think they believe in God and this and that, but if you really... You're not supposed to mess with that stuff. If you believe in God, you're not supposed to mess with the other side. There's consequences, and if you believe that, I don't believe everything like that, but I believe if you mess with certain things, you look for something, you'll find it, and you may not be what you want. That's what people don't get when they're messing around with this. The stuff has consequences, dude. It's aged me. Dude, it took me a while, bro, to even talk about some of this stuff. And I couldn't sleep for days sometimes when I first got out of this stuff. I would get attacked at night. I would see things in my dreams. I'd see dead friends that come after me. I'm just Insidious, before that movie out, I lived that, dude. I could see myself sleeping at night, and it would be like I thought I would be awake, but I could see my body, and I would see something attacking me. I would fight it off. I've had stuff like that's why I said I don't like messing with all that stuff anymore. But I do it. Whatever. I guess I'm damned. I'm damned if I do. I'm damned if I don't. So, getting into that paranormal stuff, it's a crazy field if you're involved in it. Because you have a chance of something bad happening to you, especially if you really go after this stuff. Either or crypto or whatever. There's possibility something might happen to you. You could think I'm crazy, but it could. It's a crazy world, man, and there's crazy things out there. And we do shows every day about this. And there's some things you don't want to mess with, and people are, and they're gonna wish they didn't. And I don't know if you see it all the time, bro. You see all these ghost hunters on here, then they're fighting on each other, and bad things are happening to them now. I mean, you notice that a lot of stuff happens to all these people. They go broke, or they get fired, or their families get torn apart and divorced. It's because I think that there's a reason for that. The stuff they're going after comes back to them. I mean, if you're going around messing with a hornet's nest, you know it's coming, which you're getting. You go in messing with a hornet in his nest, they're going to attack you. Well, what do you think is going to happen when you go to the hornet's nest? They're going to come after you. They don't just stay at a graveyard; they could come after you. So remember that, guys. If you're into this, don't ever get involved in that, like, unless you know what you're doing, because they'll come to your house and they can go after your family, your children, and you don't want that. You don't want it. Me. No. Sorry, what'd you say, buddy?
You don't want it. That's the golden word of the night. You don't want it.
No. You don't want to live. You don't want to live like that, because I value sleep, and there is things that go bump in the night. There is things there. I'll tell you. The other day I had a weird dream, and I know it had to do with supernatural. I fell asleep. It was like a week ago. I fell asleep, and it was a different kind of dream. It wasn't like the dreams you have, like you just have some weird dream and stuff happens. That somebody came and talked to me who's dead, and this happens to me a lot, dude. That had just passed away a couple years ago, and they were in my dream talking to me. But it's not the way like me and you are. They're white. They're like a whitish color, like gray, like they're dead. But they come and talk to me. They either talk to me or they try to attack me. And she just talked to me. It was really weird. It was somebody that I knew that had died. And it wasn't a regular dream. And it was weird, because the weird thing about this is I just had a thought about her like a couple days before that, and then I had a weird dream. And it was like I saw her and she was talking to me. And I've had a dream where my friend who died attacked me. And it wasn't her. It was her, but it was like she was just soulless. It was crazy. It was kind of like, what was that? Not The Ring. What's that one? That one where The Grudge. It looked like that. Like her soul was gone. She lost her soul to something, and she was trying to attack me. It was really weird. I've had things like that happen to me. I've had people like I think about, and like something bad happens to them or they die. Like I could tell something's wrong with them, and they end up dying. Like, and I don't know what is. It's just maybe it's a gift I have, or what. But I have had numerous dreams like this, and usually something happens out of it though. Like what I dream, and I've had people that has been dead I've dreamed about, and it's really weird. I don't know what you think about that one, bro, but that's some of the stuff you get when you mess with this stuff. Because some things, like with demons and stuff, when we get into that, like I said, things happen. We've had stuff happen, and you have to be careful, because they don't like you. They don't really like you talking about certain things. So that's why I haven't talked about everything. And that's why I tell James, because James always wants me to get into detail and stuff, and he's got to realize it isn't like Hollywood. There isn't like 10 people around a cauldron wearing those black masks, like a black mask going around sacrificing somebody. That's what I think people want, and that's not all the time what that is. It's not like that. I think people watch Hollywood too much. I'm just a normal guy, but I believe in all this stuff. I don't do rituals like that, but I do know people who do it. But I think some of that's all, like I said, Hollywood crap. So I mean, I think a lot of people want you to have, like, you have this room, and you have like a broom and a mop, like a cauldron, and you're like mixing up, making spells and crap. That's not how it goes, dude. I think that's funny. Or you're dancing around naked. I mean, I've seen people do that. There is people who do that. They do dances around the fire naked. They do that, dude. That's no joke. I haven't, but I know people who do it. But it's not as like there's people, putting spells on me, and it happens. It does happen. There is people like that, but it's not as like, I don't have like a veil on my back, and I don't have rituals in the backyard, and I cut up cats or stuff. That's no, I don't do stuff like that. I think that's funny, when people think that. That's just the whole Hollywood thing, but I like that one too. I like when people say, "Oh, you're the demon, you're a devil, I'm Satanist." What is it? Oh, witchcraft is evil. What's another great one I've been called? I worship the devil. So I just agree with them now. I'll see. Yeah, I do. Your point.
That's a very good one, man. That's good. Hey, listen. We can do another future episode in the future. We'll see what we can do next. I'd love to hear a little bit more at that point. But for now, I guess we can call it for this. If it's all right with you. And, I mean, we got a perfect episode. I mean, we got it going. We had a good hour or so.
Yeah.
We went crystal with that. Do you have any final additional information that you would like to give to the audience tonight?
I'll just give it. You know what? I'm going to thank everybody for coming. Well, they're not going to listen to it 2 days from now, but thank you for listening to the show, man. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Check us out on Staring in the Abyss every Sunday. Actually, what time is it right now? 9 o'clock. It's actually on right now, guys, as we speak. It just went on. We're doing Vlad the Impaler. It's on Para X. You guys want to go check it out on there. You just go on Para X and you want to chat. There's a little chat box. You go in there and you can, I guess you got to make a password and just hit it up and you can talk to us. But thank you to all my fans, all of your fans, bro. Thank you for the show, having me on here. I love you guys. Hope you have a great night, guys. I love you.
We love you too, James. Thank you again for coming on to the show tonight. It's been a fantastic pleasure. Thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you, brother.
You have a good night now, all right?
You too, brother.
All right. Bye-bye. And once more, folks, another successful episode of the Venomous Fringe. I apologize for the coughin', the darkness, and the ratio. We will have an improved set next week's episode. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good night.